Anthony Ferraro, Dan Mancina. Two blind guys collide to bring you Four Bad Eyes Podcast.
Welcome back, baby. Four Bad Eyes Podcast. Dan Mancina here.
Anthony Ferraro.
Let's jump into it, baby.
Let's go.
Yeah, man. So I'm really interested in, when I first lost my sight, I started kind of looking at like other blind people who kind of inspired me. And that helped me like kind of think outside of just the general ideas that I had about blindness. We're kind of jumping right into this, but let's do it.
Let's go.
Because we talked a bit about this the other night, and just like that was kind of a big thing for me to get motivation and inspired. Like I looked at like Eric Weinmeier is the first name that pops in my head. You know,
He's probably the GOAT of blind people, like one of the top GOATs.
Best known for his billboard of him at the
top of Mount Everest.
Yes,
top, holding the flag, and that guy definitely resonates in my head too. Because I'd imagine for you, when you were losing your sight, it was probably a little bit of a dark time, even though you had all that stuff at the same time going on, you know? But, like, so it's hard to think about just your vision. But it's like, how am I going to navigate life, and what am I going to do? And that's exactly how I felt when I was, like, real young, man. Even, like, I always grew up around, like, you know, I had a big family, so that really helped. Like 60 cousins. My mom's one of 13.
Six big old Italian family, huh?
No, it's the Clarks. They're Irish.
Oh, it's Irish. Okay,
Irish Italian.
Close second.
So yeah, no, and we grew up in the place called the Irish Riviera.
A lot of Irish and Italians, I think. They mingled a little bit back in the day.
That's
Still
very
do.
true. Irish Italian strong. So I grew up like skateboarding, surfing, doing all that stuff, just like not even thinking about it. But then you get to a point in your life where you're like trying to figure out life, I guess. Where it's like, you know, more teen years, like probably 14 to 18 and then on.
Trying to figure out who you
Still
are.
trying to figure that out. But like,
Yeah.
you know, and you're really, especially with the blindness, just trying to fit in, and like already those misconceptions about how people think you are and things like that. So I'll never forget, like, Eric Weinmeier, I listened to his book called Touch the Top of the World. I listened to it on cassette.
Top of the world, really?
Cassette, dude.
Did you have
like,
a Walkman?
I had a cassette. I had the cassette box from him that was signed.
Wow.
And, like, I don't know how I got it. I think it was through my mom's friend, because my mom went to optometry school and stuff.
Okay.
But so I ended up with this tape, and I would listen to it before bed every night.
Do you know, was it yellow? Was it like the classic? Do you know?
I don't remember. No, they were like cassette tapes.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You literally put on your belt loop and you got it clipped right there.
Oh man.
Or no, I'm thinking of the actual Walkman. We put the cassette tape into.
No. So this was actually, you know what I had? I had a one of those cassette players that was on a stand, like next to my bed.
Okay.
So I would listen to it like loud, and like going to bed, and it would inspire me so much, man. This guy was like, because it resonated so much with my life. Like hearing about, even when he was like 13 years old, he's like, you know, riding bikes off like kicker ramps and stuff, but just living life. And then
his parents didn't hold him back at all.
Not at all. They really helped push him forward, and that's kind of how my parents were growing up too. You know, it's just like let you fly, and they really, you know, he was like. I grew up around, like, I went to school for the blind in Philadelphia, and I was around a lot of other blind people and stuff like that. So, and there wasn't that many blind people around me that were doing, like, you know, especially things like that. Like, that's
the
nuts.
highest level.
He's doing that. He's rock climbing, you know, he's kayaking the Grand Canyon, things like that.
He does, so many feats.
No limits. Like, his thing is called No Barriers. And
that's his foundation.
Yeah, shout out to No Barriers. Great foundation. And so I listened to this cassette tape when I'm younger, right? I was probably 13, 14 years old. And I never forget listening to it every night and just hearing about, you know, all these challenges he had, like the things he had to face, the dark times he went through. Like he had a story where he pissed his pants in like 8th grade or something because he was too stubborn to ask for help. No, to ask for help. So he asked to go to the bathroom, And it was at a new school, and he had like just lost a lot of his sight, and he starts walking through the hallway, and he has no
Couldn't
idea
find
where he's
it.
going,
Oh.
dude, not using a cane, and he just completely lost where he was, and he just turned around and just like faced the locker and peed himself, and he said it was like the most embarrassing thing ever. And you know, he just like hearing that he had these struggles, and then when he was like doing the training for the Mount Everest, like there were so many times where he wanted to give up, and you know, even with just being blind and all these things, and it really resonated with me because I'm like, wow, you know, I'm not the only one that feels, I'm not crazy, basically, you know, and this guy he's incredible. So it's people like that, you know, definitely people like my dad is a huge inspiration in my life, because he just, especially him and my mom just pushing me and really helping me out and teaching me so much. And then like making sure I had the tools to be able to be independent and not coddling me. And then, you know, obviously you're my big brothers and stuff. But another one is like my wrestling coach, man. And
Hey, hold up. I got a good story about peeing my pants.
oh no,
Because he did it in, what was he,
eighth grade? Yeah.
I did it about 3 years ago.
No.
I was on a trip.
3 years ago.
I was on a trip for same kind of deal. I was on a trip with Adidas. This was in LA, I think, and everyone's on at night. We're at this bar, and they had it was some like heavy metal karaoke thing, and I was just chilling.
Oh, no.
I was chilling outside with everybody, and like everyone was like in this super, like if you walked in this heavy metal room, it was like they gave you earplugs because it was so loud in there. So I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of over this scene. Like, I'm
so
not,
you're blind and
so I'm like, you put your
hear it
earplugs in,
all.
like, I don't want to go in there. Let's be floating in space. So,
Literally.
so like, I had a couple drinks. I'm chilling. I kind of had to pee, but I'm like, I can hold it. And then like one of the homies is like, we're gonna head back to the hotel. I was like, all right, I'm down. I was like, okay, I can definitely hold it. I'll make it back to the hotel. Order the Uber. Uber took like 20 minutes to get there. I'm like, man, I gotta pee pretty bad. Well, I'm not gonna go now. Get in the Uber. Uber ride was like 45 minutes. And that by this point, I'm already like shaking my legs in the Uber on the way there. It's like, I just gotta make it to the lobby and get up to my room. Get in the hotel lobby. Everyone goes off. I'm by myself at this point, and I'm like, I'm getting kind of frantic at this point. I'm gonna pee my pants right now. I'm walking around the lobby. I'm like, I walk in the door, and the woman's like, "How you doing? You need help?" Like, nope, I'm good. I'd start running into like the trees and the bushes in the lobby, like hitting my face. I'm
like you made it to the hotel lobby.
yeah,
dude.
I'm in the lobby. I'm like, I'm kind of drunk at this point too. So I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm going. I'm fine. And then finally, it's like, I'm looking for the elevators. Where are the elevators at? Like right over that
This
way.
frantic
So I go to the elevators.
frantic drunk blind guy.
I'm grabbing, like, I'm feeling the thing, find my elevator, hit the button on the thing, go in the elevator, I'm reading trying to figure out the braille on the freaking elevator wall. It's like 50 floors, find my floor, hit the floor. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to pee my pants in this elevator right now. Door opens, make it on the hallway. I'm like, I can't run because
Are
I'm
you
not
with
that
anyone?
familiar. No, I'm by myself at this
Oh
point.
no.
Otherwise, it would have been like, take me to my room
Oh
now.
no.
I'm running, I'm checking doors, dude, reading the braille on the doors. It was like only the second time I'd been to my room because we like checked in that day. Checking the rooms, reading. I'm at my door, and I find my room. I'm getting my key, and then the key has to go in a certain way. I don't have my key labeled yet. I'm like swiping, and I probably peed like 10% of what I had to pee.
No. Just
like,
had to get the top
Dude,
out.
I'm
yeah.
like, no! When I open the door, I finally get it open, bust
Oh,
the door
it's
open.
so-
I'm like peeing as my pants are coming down and finally get to the toilet, dude.
See,
But I peed my pants.
At least you were, at least you were like at your hotel, like going to your room and like you were good. Imagine doing that in school, like just get grade to
I had,
at a
I had to
critical
change.
point.
I had to change of pants. I had to wash those ones, and yeah.
Oh man, dude.
That was funny. That was a stressful. I just remember being in that lobby and running into the trees, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna pee my. I'm gonna water these trees right now." But yeah, it was pretty funny. But
That's the worst too, especially for when I can't see anything and I have to pee so bad. That's all I can think about, so I can't
All
even
you
focus on like
anything
navigating.
else, yeah.
Like it all goes out the window. Oh man, so
yeah, it was good. But
just going back to influences, man, was a huge role, like person for me, that not in the blind community even was my wrestling coach, who kind of took me under his wing.
Put you under his little wing?
Yeah, like when I first started, like in 7th grade, when I finally found a club after my first year being awful, this guy, like, you know, he's never worked with a blind person before, and he was like just down. He was so about it, and he was just finding out this. We worked out a whole new, you know, developed a whole new game of wrestling, like for my style and just not being able to see. And it was incredible to watch it unfold how, like, and this guy, like, I felt like I was unstoppable with him in my corner. Like, he was a man of, like...
So sorry, I had some technical difficulties there, but you were talking about your coach who was, like...
So,
yeah.
My coach, like, not even in the blind world, so not even a blind, you know, role model, but he took me under his wing. We developed this whole new style together, like a whole new wrestling style. And it was amazing to watch how he worked with me. And he was like this man of like few words, like he was super chill. And he was
like those kinds of
not
dudes.
like
You
a wrestler, like so to speak, how you would imagine one.
Yeah.
Almost like a surfer, like, you know.
Yeah. Not macho. Like,
those are the best.
probably.
No ego.
Yeah.
And just really analytical, like really analyzed things and was able to break it down, and it was incredible. Like this guy, he helped me transform from literally this little chubby 7th grader to, you know, getting better every day and like getting out of my comfort zone, working so hard. Dude, I'll never forget. He had me go through. I did this thing called he was always trying to get me to do these things, you know, like always pushing me and stuff. And he's like, Anthony, you're at like, you need to see yourself at the level above what you're at now because you're already there, and that'll make you a lot better if you can see that you're there. And, you know, because I was always very like, I'm my biggest enemy all the time. I'm always in my head, and that's my biggest enemy. Like, if I could get out of that, I would perform so much better 100% of the time.
Same with my skating. Yeah.
And he convinced me to do this 24-hour lock-in, dude. And it was a workout thing where you go to this club. The club we wrestled at is like this little Rocky Balboa like type shack thing, and it's a workout at the top of every hour. So 24 hours you're there locked in.
Clean out your rocker, man.
Dude.
Clean out your locker.
And dude, it's a different workout every hour, so it could go from anywhere from five to like 20 minutes, you know, of different things, burpees
on the hour, yeah, full day.
And he knew I was my biggest enemy, like my mind, all my thoughts and stuff, and he wanted me to get out of that. So finally, like, I really learned like what I was capable of, you know, like blindness aside, like the blindness, I couldn't even think of my blindness anymore at this point. I couldn't feel sorry for myself because all I could think about was like surviving, you know. And
yeah, you're so mentally exhausted.
I got to this point at like 2 a.m. where I'm sleeping on the side of the mat, like against the wall, and he comes over and wakes me up. And he's like, all right, the workout is like 50,
wake up,
Rock, get up. And he's like 50 pull-ups.
You're a bum, Rock, 50 pull-ups.
And I walk over, and I literally walk to the pull-up bar. I jump up and do 40 pull-ups in a clip.
I can't do one pull.
Dude, I think the most I did at that point was like 20. And your mind just like...
Well, your body takes over. It's not even your
insane,
mind.
Dude. Your mind just shuts off. That's what I learned. And I learned when you're just strongest when you block out those thoughts. But that was a very
that actually pivoted you. Like
me.
After that day, you're like, oh, okay, you had like more confidence in your physical ability and stuff.
Even just in life, like it just translated. I was like, dude, I could do anything. I literally just worked out for 24 hours, bro. Like I was locked in.
When did you start training for, I guess, how'd you get involved in gunning for the Paralympics?
Paralympics, it was through the Shot in the Dark film. So my brother made the film with Chris Sikorsky about my senior year of high school.
What up, Chris?
Chris followed me around my entire senior year of high school, documenting the entire thing, like thousands of hours of footage. And then this film gets put together. Or no, it doesn't get put together. So it gets put on the shelf after my senior year. They kind of, life happens. My brother moves to New Jersey, gets a new job, all this different stuff. Chris has a kid, all things. And finally in 2015, Chris takes the film off the shelf and puts it together. And he's like, puts together the first 15 minutes. He's like, I love what the story that's here. Like, I need to work on this. This is amazing. And he couldn't wait to show my brother. And then what happened was the day before they were supposed to meet, my big brother Oliver passed away at the age of 27. And it was like tragedy, like world was just like, felt like the floor was just taken from underneath you and you're just hanging in outer space. Like you're in
lost your big bro, yeah.
Yeah, so it was.
Were you closest to him?
I would say.
Sorry, my cup.
Oh, I would say pretty close to both of them, but he was the wrestler that got me into wrestling, and I really looked up to him in so many ways. Like he skated and all this stuff, but I'm really close to my brother
Is
John.
he the one
too.
that saved you at the basketball court?
Yeah, exactly. Like
Future episode.
that's Oliver, and he's the man. And when he passed away, Chris came to the funeral. He's like, whatever it takes, I'm gonna finish this film, and that's what he did for the next year and a half.
Yeah.
And finally, now there's a huge story behind the film, not just the story of the high school wrestling and my life and stuff. It becomes more than that. So it's all over social media, the trailer. We put it on Kickstarter to try and raise money because for post-production and everything, because it's all out of pocket, self-funded.
Yeah.
And finally, after the 30 days, we raised $87,000 and our goal was 36. So it was
wow.
It went viral, millions of views on different platforms and stuff, just the trailer alone. Yeah. And then finally, I'm sitting home, I'm watching. I had just moved back from California. I lost my brother, and my mom had just got hurt. Could talk about later, but so just all these things in life going on, and it hitting hard. Just like you said, how your life, everything hits hard, and
rains it pours.
Exactly, triple punch, and so all this stuff happens. Where was I?
Launching the documentary. So Chris. All these social media viral views and stuff, everyone, and I'm sitting home feeling sorry for myself, watching all this stuff with the documentary, and I'm not doing much with my life at this point. I'm just basically depressed, and just not doing anything really, just sitting at home and trying to figure life out again. And I get a call. I'm sitting on the couch. I get a call. I'll never forget it. I was sitting in the front room of my parents' house where I never even sit. This is why I remember it so perfectly. It's like a room no one hangs out in. And I get the call, and I'm like, hello? And they're like, hi, this is so-and-so from the United States Olympic Committee. And I was like, and I think you have the wrong number. They were like, no, is this Anthony Ferraro? If we just saw your documentary, and if you have any of that talent left, they asked me if I have any of that talent left, would you consider training in judo to try and make it to the Paralympics? And I was like, are you kidding me? Is this serious? And I was like, I said, the first thing I said is, this is amazing. Can I please call you back? Let me think about it. Mm-hmm. And the first thing I did was call my coach, who I was just talking about. It was my big Mike Melanconico. Yeah. He's
actually in the documentary. And I call him, and I was like, yo, Mike, the Paralympic committee just called me. Something about judo. And, it's similar to wrestling, all this stuff, and trying to train for 2020. And he was like, why the hell are you on the phone with me? Shut up, go hang up and call them back and tell them yes right now. And I was like, you got it, man. I just called. I was like, you know what? He's absolutely right. Because when these opportunities come in life, you have no idea when you're going to get them again, man. Yeah. If you ever get them again. So I was like, call the guy back. I'm down. Let's do it. And I just get set up.
That's exactly what I was talking about. And the first episode before this about you working so hard in wrestling, you can work so hard at something, and that you didn't make it, or you didn't
it didn't pan out how you expected.
But it turned into judo.
Well, that's what I say too. Is all
that preparation goes towards something. It's not wasted.
What's crazy to me is I'll never forget times when I was training wrestling. Mike would say to me, Anthony, you're gonna be at an Olympic level. And I was always like, that's BS, whatever. I was just shook it off. And you never can predict where life takes you. And I went from trying to train to be the best in the state in wrestling and thought it was like, that was my whole life, you know?
Yeah,
and
going
then
to
going to
compete
try
in
and
the
be the best in the world in judo. And it's like this amazing opportunity. And, you know, aside from even just the fighting, you get to go to travel to all these places you never would have, like...
So did you go
picked.
straight to the Paralympic training is the big one in Colorado?
Yeah.
Is that the only one in the U.S.?
No, there's one in New York as well, but it doesn't have judo.
Didn't
and all
have
that
judo.
stuff,
Did
yeah.
you go straight there for training?
No, so what happened was I went... I ended up getting set up with a place in New Jersey, right where I live.
They connected you with a coach and stuff?
Yeah, they hooked me up with a coach and a club. And
Is this the guy with the long gray ponytail?
so he came down and hooked me up with like the coach that I train with and stuff.
Okay.
To make sure I was at a good place and got the right people, and which ended up working out amazing.
Yeah.
And so he came down, and he was the one that first, like, you know, really made sure I was getting the basics down. Like, I had to learn how to fall. Like, that was the first thing. Like, slapping the mat
Slap the mat
hard.
with your arm first,
Like, because in judo, you're taking a lot of throws. And it was just, it was amazing. Because it's like, it's just like that point in skateboarding where I'm at right now, where you're like, every trick is amazing, like, so fun. You're at this, like, sponge period where you're soaking everything up. And, like, it was learning this whole new discipline once again. And I was just, you know, went from sitting at home feeling sorry for myself to being back at it right again,
And learning
like right away,
Japanese,
and learning Japanese along the way. So, and then I went and stayed at the training, the Colorado Springs
How
place.
far into your training did you go there?
Probably like 8 or 10 months.
Okay.
So the first thing I did was I went to a training camp in England, and then I did like a week training camp there, which was amazing. And then I came back, and then I ended up going to the Colorado Springs for like a week and a half, 2 weeks, and it was just like,
Was it, so it's all, well, it's probably all Baby Dragon again. Baby Dragon's
pasta.
here. So it's all, are they all blind, visually impaired, or is there also like other para athletes, like amputees, wheelchair and all that stuff, or what?
so yeah, it's every like most sports are there. And
Okay.
the thing is
Is
not
it-
everyone
is it-
training for the Paralympics lives there. Most people choose to live wherever they want and train with their preferred like club or coach or whatever.
So why do they, this is just a facility.
There's a lot of people that do live there, but
Is this better? Is this for like training outside of your area to get more experience with other people?
to go into the Springs,
Yeah.
it depends. I think it's more for the facilities that you have there. Like you have pretty top notch like gym facility there. You have like the, you know, cold tub, hot tub, sauna, stuff like that, and like
So
you have,
do you have a massage?
you have a
dude there?
massage therapist.
Can you
there.
get that whenever you want?
I don't think you can get it whenever you want.
You gotta schedule
Yeah,
it?
you have to schedule it definitely.
What was the food like there?
It was gnarly. It was not good.
Oh, not like,
good. Like
I see. In
like
my
probably
head, I'm thinking it's like super health. Everything's like there's got to be nutrition.
there's not even organic food. Like it's like,
a dietitian or anything. Nothing like that there.
I mean, I might be missing out on something, but there was
What
like
was your
there was all
average
these
meal?
sugar cereals, and
Okay.
there was one grill that had like low quality like chicken and
Just
beef,
grilled chicken.
but it was like all frozen stuff. You know what I mean? And it was like government.
I wonder if that's the same as other Olympic training. Probably not. There's probably just not as
No,
much money in Paralympics.
There's other training facilities in other countries that are top notch. Like you're getting in Ukraine for judo, if you like win a medal, they pay for your housing for the year, like for your house.
Yeah,
Not just like staying in a dorm or something, like for your
Okay.
literal
They
apartment.
hook up the athletes.
Yeah, and you get, you know, top notch like recovery facilities all the time.
This is how much money you can get pumped in. Because like skateboarding, I know is pretty low funded. You know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
You're just
Judo's
skating,
definitely the same.
and you just got to show up to the your sponsors are pretty much paying for you to travel and do all that.
Same thing with judo, and for me, like a lot of my journey is self-funded, so it's just literally believing in yourself so much on this dream that you're just paying your way through it, and then, you know, hopefully one day someone might pick you up, but if not, it doesn't matter.
Were the other blind people there like gnarly blind people, like super independent, or like were they like?
No, I got like a weird vibe there. Like, I almost, it's almost like I don't know, like I want to say sad. Like, it's almost like you're doing the same day-to-day thing every day. You're stuck in this like little hub. It's like very, it's not super big, and there's
So
not
people
much
are kind of
around.
like just doing their routine and sticking to themselves, kind of.
Exactly, and there's people with their little groups and stuff, but
Yeah.
it almost felt like you were at a very small college,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it felt like that's what it felt like, college cafeterias.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Did you meet any like super tight people there?
No,
one
I've definitely met some super tight people there. Like, there's a couple people from the judo team.
You
And,
still stay in touch with
yeah, that absolutely.
Because then you see those people when you're actually...
When I'm traveling and stuff, and go to camps and things like that. And most people have actually left the training center in judo, especially.
Wait, can you live there like full time?
Yeah, there's people that live there full time.
Oh, you get free rent?
Like, I got
guess if you're
offered
broke, you could just do
That's
it.
the thing too. Like, it's really good if that's your full time life, and there's other things.
If you weren't lazy, you could live there and really bust your ass, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
And be training every day.
But also, if you had nothing else you had to do,
Yeah, exactly. And have a wife, kids, house, and all that. Yeah.
Exactly.
When was your first like Olympic qualifying tournament?
It was in 2019 in Lisbon, Portugal.
Portugal.
Oh, that was
How many stamps you got on your passport, dude?
dude, a lot.
Do you get the stamps?
Yes,
you
always
ask for
always
it?
get the stamp.
How many pages you got filled up in
A
that?
lot. I think I had to get a new passport
Did you have to
because
get
my pages were filled.
Yeah.
Not even because it was expired.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta get the extra page one.
Did you do good in your first tournament?
All right, man. So I trained so hard for this tournament. Like, I packed like 10 years of judo into like 3 years, right? Mm-hmm. And
You did no judo besides wrestling. You just went into judo.
I just went right into
and
judo.
You trained for how many months did you say before you had your first tournament?
Probably trained for like 2 years.
2 years, okay.
Probably 2.5 years. And then...
Keep facing that mic, right?
Yeah.
There we go.
2.5 years. And then finally, I go to this tournament. So my first thing was a training camp. The first time I traveled was like a couple months in. I went to a training camp in England and did really well. And then...
But this is your first tournament.
This is my first tournament
points,
overseas. Yeah.
Points towards...
So I've done many tournaments like back home, in the U.S., but this is my first one traveling with the team. It's a world championship world championship Paralympic qualifying tournament.
A lot of points.
A lot of points. Very scary. So you got to. It was very overwhelming.
So it's all point based. You got to get enough points to make it to the finals, and eventually enough points to get into the games itself. So, So this tournament's worth a good chunk of points.
Exactly. You have to get at the end of the quad, the 4 years. It's whoever has the top 13 in the world with those added up points, they go to the games. So
you're gunning for these points, yeah.
I'm at this Portugal tournament. So I flew out there with Kelly, actually. Mm-hmm. Kelly came with me.
Your wife now.
My wife. At the time, she was the most supportive girlfriend in the world. Mm-hmm. And so I'm there. I trained.
Did you know you were going to marry her at this point?
Pretty much, yeah. It was...
Gotcha.
Just worked, so we were such a connection
and
such a team. This is actually being over, like when we traveled for the first time, that's when we just knew, because it's just we worked so well together, and that's kind of when the true test, when you go out of the country with your partner. It's a lot of challenges you run into.
Does your coach tell you not to have any sex when you're training?
No, he never advised me on any of that. I always stuck to Rocky. Hey, Rock.
Well, he doesn't do it, dude.
It keeps you weak in the knees.
Yeah. But so you're in Portugal.
So I'm in Portugal, and dude, I'm terrified. I'm so nervous the whole time leading up to this. By the way,
yeah, for sure.
Dude, my first world champ. I've never been to a world champ. I don't know what that is. I'm terrified, and go on this real long flight. Get there. I think it was 8 hours or something. Portugal. And when we got there, it's a couple days leading up to the tournament. So you have 1 or 2 practices leading up to this tournament to get warm and then just get used to it. So also you're dealing with this time zone change. So that's another factor that you're feeling. Yeah. And the weight cutting, everything.
How many days from when you got there to your first match?
I think it was 4.
4 days.
So it's like a good amount of time to be like nervous too.
Yeah, building up.
Yeah, you're just the anxiety. So I do the practices and then I go to the tournament, right? And it's the first, like, it's this huge, like, massive, like, dome, like, arena type thing. And there's, like, you know, like, stadium stands and everything.
Yeah, big mat with a bunch of circles.
It's so loud. Yeah, so and the mats are in the middle. Like, and it's just everything's circled around it. And
are they packed with?
It's packed with people from all over the world. So you just hear, especially when you can't see, you're just, you know, you're listening all the time. You hear like 30 different languages going on at once, and you can't pick up on one. It's just, it's so much. And that's another thing, trying to deal with that stimulation as well. Like everything going on. You're trying to, the time change, the weight cut, it being the first world championship tournament. And then...
How much weight do you have to cut?
I had to cut like maybe 10, 15 pounds.
Okay.
And there's so many people. It's so loud. There's these fluorescent lights. And I have light perception. So these fluorescent lights are all through the ceilings. And they're really like... They wear you out because they make you really exhausted. They fatigue you really hard.
The crappy lighting.
And so I have to try and like... put headphones on and stay calm and just like close my eyes and meditate basically. And then I'm just trying not to like, you know, cry at this point. I'm so scared. I'm just so nervous, dude. But I've worked so hard. Like so many hours have gone into this moment. And then I'm like, oh man, you know, like, so they do a draw for who's going to be like, how they do the match orders and stuff. So I'm 73 kilograms, which is like 160.6.
I was going to ask.
And it starts at, so it's 60, 66, 73, 81, 90, so on. And then it's, so minus 100 plus 100. And then I'm waiting in the stands, right? Thinking like, oh, I'll have some nice time. Like, I'm just going to get like warmed up and relax. Like, just maybe take a tiny nap because I'm feeling a little crazy from all this. Couldn't sleep the night before. And I'm waiting. They do like the intro ceremony and stuff, and then they announce Anthony Ferraro, United States of America, first match 1, and I was like, oh no,
you were
dude,
the first
first match of this world championship. Like that happening is the chances are so slim. It's crazy.
Somebody's got to be first, yeah.
Dude, my knees started buckling like. My palms started sweating, and then so you go back into this like hallway and you're away from everything, and then they walk you out into the stadium like at the bottom, like you're in the center, you know, and everything's around you, and it's like electric. Like you feel like you're levitating because of everything that's going on. And I'm on the mat. I can't even hear at this point because it's just so loud. And I'm versing someone from China, actually. And
you remember his name?
What was his name? No, I don't.
Okay.
But so I'm fighting him. I end up, dude. I'm so like, just whatever. I'm so nervous, and I'm fighting him. And we're going. I'm so nervous that I can't breathe like 30 seconds in the match, even though I'm in such good shape because of all the nerves and not being loose enough. And then finally, dude, I threw him, and like I got a half. So in judo, if you get a full point, it's over. But you can get half points as well. So if you get 2 half points, it equals a full point, and it's done. So
2 halves usually equals 1. Yeah.
But that's whatever.
I know.
This guy. And the crowd is going nuts. Like, I hear Team USA, like, screaming, dude, I just took this guy down. I got a half point. I'm, like, basically can't believe it at this point.
Now you're hyped, yeah.
And I'm just so hyped. I'm like, oh, I got this, you know? Like, I just got to hang on. So my coach, we've been over this strategy, too. Like, if you're up and there's not much time left, just, you know, circle, and, like, be active.
Defense.
Yeah. but also just work. And I had it down, like, to a science. I knew what to do, and we had it down. He was coaching me from the corner. He had he was able to read everything that was going on.
Can you hear him?
Yeah, I can, because the only times I can hear him is on the breaks. So when every time there's a break, I'm pointing my ear right towards him and listening.
Yep.
And that's where I'm getting my crucial information. And then finally, there's like 20 seconds left. And I'm fighting. I'm up by half a point. He hasn't scored at all. Oh, there was one time in the match where we like fell to the ground, both of us at the same time, and like landed the same way, right? Mm-hmm. And then it just got back up. So nothing happened on that. There was no score. And then that was a minute. So a minute before the match was over, 2 minutes into the match. So a match is 4 minutes in judo. So 2 minutes in, that happened. The fall where no points were scored.
Do you have to be up by a full point to win?
So you can be losing by a half a point and then just score a full point and win.
Okay.
Yeah. So anything can happen in judo in any given moment. And you could choke someone out or tap them.
They could tap them. How do you get a full point?
So a full point would be throwing them from their feet to their back. Like if they land like flat on their back, basically. And, like you control the throw.
So how did you get a half point on him? Did he not fully go down? Or?
So he landed on one shoulder. Basically. Like I threw him. Yeah, so
you can just turn your body in the air and hit a shoulder and it's not a full point?
So like he landed on his side essentially.
Okay, not back.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know it was that. It's a specific way you have to put him on the ground.
Exactly. So it shows that you're in so much control.
I'm gonna put you on your back. Okay.
Okay. So in judo, it'd be like it was designed in the Civil War where like you were designed to kill your opponent. It was the samurais when they lost their swords, so they were throwing them from their feet to their back, to try and knock them out and stuff. So I got a half point, and that spill happened, no points. So then finally, dude, there's 30 seconds left. People are going nuts. Like, it's insane. So many people are watching this match because it's my first ever tournament. So people are like, who the hell is this kid, And, like, I have my hair braided for this tournament and stuff, like, because I always have to get it braided to fight. So, like, people don't see that either in these tournaments. It's just different. And there's, like, 10 seconds left, 10 seconds, 5 seconds, and I just keep circling. Dude, it ends, and, like, my hands go up. Like, I never do that. I never put my hands up, like, in celebration,
no.
And I was just so stoked. My coach was, like, screaming. He was so pumped. Like, my whole team was screaming. Like, all this stuff. Everyone was celebrating. And all of a sudden, we're standing at the center, and they don't have us bow, like, right away. I'm like, what's going on? And then all of a sudden, the ref leaves the middle of the mat. And I'm like, this can't be good. Like, what's happening? And all of a sudden, he comes back, and he goes... essentially he said that guy got a half point 2 minutes ago after rewatching the film, that the fall that we had, he got a half point. And in judo, if the call isn't called and then reviewed like 10 seconds after, that doesn't happen, like what they just did. And my coach was we were so confused, basically, like, how did this happen? Like, he literally says to me, like, Anthony, I don't say this, but, like, you actually got, like, screwed over. Like, I don't even know. That ref got, like, in trouble, basically, too. Like, I found out, like, it was just really bad. And then, dude, it was my first world championship, too. And, like, you'd think, like, oh, you lose, but you get another match. It's over. Like, that was the whole tournament for me. And I was done for that, for Portugal. Like,
and how long are you there after that?
For the whole tournament, the rest of the day, and then there's another...
are you there for like a week, or...?
So me and Kelly stayed for like a week. People usually leave after, and we stayed and explored, but like...
But that was it.
That you train all these hours, dude. Yeah, countless hours. Go to this tournament, it's over in 4 minutes. You travel across the world, it's over in 4 minutes. And it's like, that alone can make you want to quit.
It's weird they were not able to, like, reverse that. I mean, even if, like, that ref got in trouble. Like, did you ever get points back? Like,
nothing. I got nothing. I got points for going to the tournament.
Okay,
I should have got, like, triple the amount of points because I was a B1, meaning worst level of blindness, and he was a B3, so like he could see pretty well.
Yeah.
And it was just crazy.
Damn, dude.
Oh man, this kid was so lanky too. He's so tall, and I just remember, I can't believe that tournament. That was like, I look back on that and like you just want to like jump back into the past and fix that, you know. Like, but it's that alone though, flying all that way and then just that shit happening right away. You're like, dude, do I want to keep doing judo? Like, I just spent all this money to get here, and it's over. Like, nothing happened out of that. But you got experience. You learn. You know, you have to look at the other side of it. Where like, I just went to my first tournament. I'm in Portugal. Yeah, I never would be here, and like, I'm learning how this stuff works. I'm still like new at this, and then, you know, I just didn't let me give up, and I just kept going tournament to tournament and traveling all the time. And
what'd you make it to?
I made it to like in my ranking,
like to get into the Olympic. You were about to go, right?
So
were you about to go to the finals?
I was really close to making. So basically, if I had made it to my last tournament before the Paralympics, I would have had a very good chance of. If I had just won one match, I would have been there. Like, I would have made it to the Olympics. But even just being there and, you know, showing up and stuff, it could have really helped my points because of the position I was in my rankings. And then I show up there. Or no, I'm like top 20 in the world. I'm first in the country, and I'm like, you know, doing really well. I've another 2 more tournaments left to try and get points, and like I'm looking really good at the like 2 weeks before this tournament, the best I'm ever fighting in practice ever. Like, I'm throwing everyone, people that I don't normally throw, I'm throwing them like easily and stuff. Everything started clicking and making sense, you know. Like, I felt like I turned that corner, and I went to throw this guy, and dude, I throw him behind me, basically. Like, I fall to my back and use my leg to push him over me. And all of a sudden, after he's like mid-air, I just hear a pop, and my groin just tore.
Popped your groin?
Yeah, like popped my groin, and I was basically got up and didn't know where I was. Like, it was traumatic. And
in pain or just like thinking about everything?
Pain, essentially, like pain initially. And it was just so painful. Like, at first I felt no pain because my body just went into shock, essentially. And I'm like, what is going on? You know, was that like, I thought it was like my nut, and I was so scared, dude. I thought I like ripped my ball. Like, I didn't know what happened. I'm checking, like, my hand's like in my gi, like down my pants. I'm like so scared.
Is that the first time you messed your genitals up?
First time.
I know it isn't. But tell me this. I've only heard a brief portion of the story. I need to hear the story.
Oh man, Dan told us about his thumb, and that was probably would you say that was one of the most traumatic injuries you've had?
Yeah.
Mine was also at a young age.
How old were you?
5 years old, to be exact.
So
I don't even know, man. I was 5 years old, and I'll never forget this. I don't know why I remember it so clearly too. I was 5 years old, and
I know why you remember it so clearly. Because you squished your penis. Get into what happened. You're 5?
I'm 5, and like, I'm short. We're having a family party. There's a family party.
A lot of people here.
Not a family party. I'm sorry. There's just like a little like hangout gathering in the living room. Just some Clarks and stuff. and we're
Clark East.
They're all chilling in the living room. And the way my house was, the bathroom's in the living room. Oh my God, dude. And I was real short, so I'm like, you know, all proud because I use the bathroom by myself and everything. So I go to pee.
Oh, you're standing.
So my bathroom's in the living room. So I go in the bathroom. I have to pee really bad. Your bathroom's
in the living room?
It's like, you know.
You gotta pee in the living room? Is it like right next to the couch?
It's on the coffee table. Yeah. It's under it.
Connected to the same
So I'm peeing in the bathroom, right? My parents had just gotten this brand new toilet seat. It was a
really nice seat.
It was a no. It was a. I'll never forget, dude. It was a granite one or something. One of those really heavy ones.
Heavy.
Like a really nice one. And they got it from this place. Whatever. Justin got it. I'm peeing. I rested my little penis on the.
You have it resting on the rim?
I'm so short, dude. I'm so short.
Wait, on your tippy toes?
No, I'm at that level where.
Are you going no hands?
No, I think I'm like.
One hand.
Just whatever, dude. Whatever it was.
You still pee like that?
No.
No hands, dude. I just rest that second.
No hands.
On the rim? That
dude.
is so weird, dude.
I got a little pee-pee on the rim.
You do your thing.
I'm peeing. All of a sudden, both toilet seats come smashing down on my penis.
Did you hit him, or do you not even remember what happened?
No, I'll tell you what happened, dude. The toilet seat that my parents got ended up being cracked. A brand new toilet seat was sold cracked.
Yeah.
And the toilet seat was like faulty, and it just
at that exact time
fell on me, dude. And
while you were resting your penis on the rim of the
smushed, dude. No, not smushed. What it did was there was like I started squirting blood. Oh. Dude, I'll never forget. I ran into the living room. There's all these people at my house, and I'm squirting blood. I'm like red fires, and I'm like going nuts. I'm screaming at this point, like at the top of my lungs. I'm in so much pain. I'm like and then all of a sudden, dude, everyone's like, "What the fuck? Like, what is going on?
What were you doing
dude, my
in
pants
there?
are down around my ankles, running around the living room in so much pain, and like." And everyone's there. Like, next thing I knew, I woke up on the hospital bed, like in the hospital.
Whoa!
That's the next thing I remember is waking up.
They were probably wondering what was this
and everything
doing
was all
in
better.
The bathroom,
dude. Oh no, I'm pretty sure I had the door open too when I was peeing.
You're just a little kid. Yeah,
it's just.
So what happened?
And then I woke up.
Did it split it?
So it like put another hole or something, and like. It split the tip,
God.
And it was so messed up, dude. Thank the Lord that everything healed up perfectly.
Did they have to stitch it?
Thank you to those doctors, whoever did it.
Did they stitch it?
I think there were some stitches involved, because all I remember is I woke up after everything. You might be a girl
now, dude.
I woke up after everything was done.
Yeah.
And I just remember for the next like month or two, it hurt so bad to pee.
Just
like pure burn,
you.
like stinging like crazy. Anytime I got in the water,
little pee came out the side, sometimes out of the hole, the new hole you had, dude.
Dude, it's all better.
You're good now.
I'm all better, but I'll never forget
that is
drinking
traumatic.
that. I don't know why this is ingrained in my brain too. That bubble gum like liquid medicine I had to take on the spoon, and it was so gross. I had to like hold my nose to take it, and I didn't know why I was taking it because I was so young. I didn't know what was going on. Like it was, dude, that was traumatic, man. Like that was worst injury of my life.
Did you have to like remove the stitches, or they like dissolve? Do you remember?
They were dissolvable. They had to have been, because I don't remember going back.
That is insane that just that exact moment in the universe when you were peeing, that's when that toilet seat like broke and fell.
Yeah, sometimes you have to experience pain to experience
pleasure. That reminds me, actually, speaking of penis stories, I had kidney stones.
No.
I got kidney stones.
No way. That's one of my biggest fears. I'm not kidding.
It was like
some people's biggest fear is blindness. Mine are kidney stones.
Dude, I had one, like, just came out. Like,
how old were you?
This was like, I don't even know. This was, I can tell you, it was, Callaghan's 13. He was almost 2. So this is like 11 years ago. It first started like, I kept feeling like I had to pee, but I couldn't pee. I have to pee. I don't have to pee. Kept trying to go pee, nothing, and then just the pain started hurting. That's when the kidney stones move in from the kidney into the ureter, which goes to the bladder, and then you pee it out.
Was it from like dehydration?
I think it's from this medication I used to take for my eyes. I swear it read that was a side effect on it.
Oh,
but
man.
I asked another doctor, said no, it's not a side effect. But I swear I remember reading that. Maybe it's that, or I don't even know. It's kind of hard to tell until you get like the actual stone back, which I never ended up getting any of the stone back. But like,
what do you mean? Oh, like retrieving it?
Yeah, you retrieve it, then they can like test it and
Do
get
you
a better
remember
idea.
passing it?
So this is what happened. So I went to the hospital freaking out. Like, I remember I got to like the ER and I was in so much pain. I was like, I need to puke. I started vomiting from pain, which I've never done that before.
That's bad.
It's like nauseous.
I never done
I get in
that.
there and whatever, they do a what is it called? Like an X-ray. And they say, yeah, you got a kidney stone. Pretty much you just got to pass it, send me home. A little bit more time goes on. After this, I forget about this. Years go by. Like I must have passed it or something. Like I don't know what happened. Years go by. Same thing starts happening. It must have been that same stone and it had gotten bigger. So I go to the hospital again.
Wait, it came back?
My idea is that I think I never passed it and it was just chilling for how long.
So now it's bigger?
It's bigger. I got an X-ray this time, and they said that stone's too big to pass. There's two options. They can either go up into your kidney and grab it, but that's like more invasive and can, I guess, damage your kidneys a little bit more. Or you can do what is it called? Evisceration or something? Oh, I don't know what it's called. They pulverize it. So they put you under, and there's like this machine that like pounds your kidneys, and it's supposed to like disintegrate the stone.
That can't be good.
Yeah, that can't be good. It's a kidney shot, like kidney punched. Like,
Yo, I could do that. But you could pay me. I'll just punch you in the kidneys.
But they put you under so you don't feel any of that. You wake up and you're fine. You're like maybe a little sore. But what they had to do is they had to put a stent in. So they put a stent in while I'm under. So they go in through your penis and put like a tube that blocks your ureter so that it doesn't try to pass again. You know what I mean? There's like a little like a mesh thing on it that lets urine go through, but not the stone. But this is the most painful part where every time I would pee, it would be like someone grabbed my kidney and twisting it. Oh. So I'd be like, I would like fear going pee. And this was in for like 2 weeks. I would pee and it would be blood every time. And just like, I was supposed to be catching it in this thing to try to catch some of the stone as it came out. Didn't even do any of that. I was like, I can't handle this. I can't do it. But that passes. They do another X-ray and they're like, yeah, it broke up really good, man. You're good. We can take the stent out now. And this is where it gets gnarly. I go in. He's like, we're going to take the stent out. He's like, are you going to put me under? He's like, no, we don't put you under.
Stop, dude. No.
I lay down on this table. He comes in with this long cord thing.
Stop.
And it has like a little monocular on it. And he puts this, I'm wide awake, I'm looking at him doing this. He puts the thing in the tip of my penis, goes in there, which is actually not that, it wasn't wide enough, it didn't like hurt, it was just the weirdest feeling you'd ever feel in your life. And this guy's looking through this monocular, looking for the stent to grab it. He grabs it, pulls this thing out, comes out, dude, pulls the stent out. I'm just freaking out in my head, you know what I mean? It's like Clockwork Orange, some kind of weird version, dude. But he popped it out, and I was all good. And then pray to God that I never, because that was the weirdest pain and just weirdest thing I had to go through.
Dude, that is,
yeah, kidney stone.
That's my biggest fear. Yeah, no, thank you, please. That's how I felt though too when I got that. When that happened when I was younger, like. I was afraid to pee every time I had to pee. It was like the biggest fear, and there would be blood. It was just, but I can't believe like when you're, dude, I can't even believe like saying these stories because that pain is so incredible that you don't think it's ever gonna get better. And then looking back, you're like, I don't think I could ever go through that again, you know? But It's like you made it through it.
It was. Sorry, I had something going on the computer. I think we're good though. Yeah, dude, going through that stuff is I mean, yeah, you make it through, dude. Somehow, even though how like scared you are going through it. Dude.
Well, it's even like those like dark points in life. You know, how we're saying like the life punches come so hard. It's like, dude, you just make it through. You have to make it through because it's either you make it through or you just you just give up right there.
There's nothing you can do. It some things that happen in life. It's like you just gotta deal.
That's what I'm saying. There's sometimes when people say like I want to give up. Sometimes I'm just like, well, dude, like. Giving up right now is not an option. It's actually not. And that's how you got to keep pushing.
Keep pushing, baby. Oh, my God, dude.
This has been...
Bringing up some memories.
It's been heavy.
I'm trying to think what else I had to go through, dude. I don't even know, dude. Losing my eye.
Well, your eye...
Talk about that at a different time.
Yeah.
Man. Penis stories. Trauma as a man, dude. I guess it's all better than childbirth, man.
Oh, man. Good Lord. You guys, you women are incredible. Each and every one of you.
What else was I going to ask you about, dude? The Paralympics got into that. That was awesome.
Oh, man. What are we at?
We're at almost 50 right now. 148.
Oh.
We're doing good.
Yeah, it's been a late night.
It has been a late night.
We were setting up some podcast stuff. We were setting up the studio, and Dan was trying to figure out the headphones.
Oh, apologize to the last episode.
No. He put in my headphone. He was trying to switch some things around, and he put in my headphone, and all of a sudden I start getting this like alien noise first. All of a sudden I started hearing something's off. Yeah, and then it started getting overwhelmingly loud to where it went through my soul. And I think I just threw the headphones, and I think I literally threw them just in time. Like if I got them off any second later, it would have been I would have been done.
I plugged the headphone into the auxiliary.
Like it was traumatic. It was the feed. He started getting feedback warnings on his laptop, and the feedback didn't stop. And I just threw my headphones, and it was so loud that I was coming through the headphones. I was speechless for like a minute.
You were almost deaf and blind. Dude.
Yeah, that would have been really bad, really bad. Dude.
All right, but apologies to the last episode because I don't know if you might not notice it, but it got recorded in
mono.
So
but you won't,
one on the left, one on the right.
It's all learning curve. Everything's a learning process. This is the first time we're really doing this, so
exactly. We've got blind people running the boards here.
Yeah, we had Kelly come in and save the day.
She had to come adjust.
She had to use her eyes. Thank you.
But dude, we're gonna.
This has been we'll wrap it up now, and we'll come back to you. Send in your questions and make sure you follow along across the board. Unlike or dislike,
unsubscribe, leave a bad comment.
Yeah, bad review.
You can check out the website forbadeyes.com and FOUR.
Yeah, FOUR. And everything you need, all the links and everything are on that website.
Yep. And I'm Dan at 4badeyes.
And Anthony at forbadeyes.com.
And much love. Keep pushing.
One love, baby. Have a great day, evening, night, wherever you are, morning.
Speak to y'all next Sunday.
Peace.
Woo! Keep pushing. And one love from 4 Bad Eyes.